What's up, guys? Django Fett here, back with another podcast episode. Back with my buddy, Captain Awesome.
Hey guys, what's up?
And we're back doing another podcast episode. As you can tell, I'm away from my usual setup, so the microphone on my part is really shitty. Hopefully I can get back to it in my usual setup sometime soon. But anyway, 2017 and the movies that came out. So we're going to start with the worst movies of 2017, then go to the best movies of 2017, and go down from basically 5 to first when it comes to our worst and best list. So 2017 was a pretty mediocre year, honestly. It was not a brilliant year for movies. There were some hits, but I would say there were a lot more misses and disappointments, in my opinion. What do you think, Kat?
I think 2017 is, the definition of it was okay. There were some pretty damn good movies, but a lot of inconsistency, and some movies were clusterfucks, some movies were a bit overrated, and some movies were just forgettable. So that's the way I put it. So I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah. So let's start with the worst movies of 2017. Starting with number 5. So I will start first because I really want to talk about these fucking movies.
This is gonna be fun.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Alright, so number 5 for me is The Mummy. This is the 2017 Universal version where they're starting the Dark Universe, or whatever they call it, with Tom Cruise. This movie was set to failure from the moment it was just ushered in. I didn't see anything with this movie, and as soon as I saw it, like months later after it released, people said it was shitty, it was the worst thing ever. For me, it was the best, worst movie that came out of this year. It was so bad, it was enjoyable. I was just cracking up, laughing the whole time. So that's why it's lower on the list than probably many other people out there. Because I just had a fucking blast. I knew it was going to be bad, but I didn't think it was going to be this enjoyable at the same time. But yeah, this is like completely different. It's not even related to the original Mummy movies, which you can't even compare compared to this one. This was just a fucking disaster, and they're going to be starting a whole new universe based around this movie alone, just like Batman vs. Superman, like the equivalent of that. Yeah, so I could have put this movie higher, but I actually ended up enjoying it more than I should have.
Yeah, you did.
Alright, Cap, what is your number 5?
Okay, my number 5. I don't hate this movie, I didn't love it either, but I would definitely have to say it's one of my disappointments of 2017, and that is Skull Island. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really, love this movie too much at all. I'll admit John C. Reilly's character is like the only character in my film. He's likable, he's actually got a story arc. But besides that, all these talented actors like Samuel L. Jackson, Brie Larson, Tom Hiddleston, everybody like that's in the cast, so talented but so wasted, as all their characters, there's just nothing to them apart from John C. Reilly, as I said. Oh man, the action sequences were pretty impressive. Some of the cinematography looks nice, but besides that, the natives were, and there was no dinosaurs, and in the Peter Jackson movie, in 2005, the King Kong movie there, and the other King Kong movies from the classics, they all like really, delved into why Skull Island is, such a dangerous, island with all these monsters and, all, set in the kaiju universe that explains it. This movie didn't really do that. It just felt like, an action movie with no substance at all, and I kind of got bored after a while. So, that definitely has to be my 5th, least favorite movie of the year, so, yeah.
Yeah, Kong was... It definitely looked exciting. I was definitely looking forward to it. But when compared to Peter Jackson's King Kong, it doesn't even come close.
Yeah.
Not even. It was just half-assed characters, really bad writing, and the only good part was the action, which there really wasn't too much.
It's like, it's like when the action happened, the movie exploded into life, but that only happened like, I think 2 or 3 times in the entire film. So, plus I think I heard they gave this to some rookie director, and let's just say this movie was too big for him. So yeah.
Yeah, and when you have to prove yourself, and this is like your biggest, first movie out there, this is probably not one you want to start off with. Because it shows.
This was his big break, and by what I saw of him, I think he's got an inch of talent with the action sequences, the cinematography, and certain things like the way he shoots the movie. But he's got to work on his stories. He's got to work on his, character development, or should I just say characterization as a whole. He's got to work on a lot of things, especially pacing. And editing was a bit weird as well. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, that's my fifth one.
Alright, so my number 4 is Bright. This one came out, pretty recently on Netflix, and is a combination of modern day cop, LAPD society with cops and stuff, with fantasy elements, like heavy-handed fantasy elements, which are not really properly explained. This was a recipe for disaster for me. I know many people were looking forward to it, but it's directed by David Ayer. But I feel like the whole concept was fucking stupid from the start. I thought the concept was stupid. I know many people were looking forward to it, but it was just the wrong things combined into one, and I'm just sick to death of David Ayer just doing the same fucking shit with like these cop movies all the time. I know he's done Suicide Squad. That's like his only really different movie out there, but this one is just much the same. And then, like, does this guy know how to do anything else? I mean,
I think the only movies that were different was Suicide Squad and Fury.
Yeah,
that was like it. Everything else seems to either be cop related or gangster related or something like that. It's like, as you said, same old shit, to be honest. And he's okay as a filmmaker. I've never really truly been impressed by him. Besides Fury, I really liked that movie, and I like, didn't he do the script for Training Day?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, that's a great movie too. But besides that, I don't know, he's been pretty inconsistent throughout all the years, to be honest.
Now, with Bright, it is pretty much a mess of a movie. When it comes to the writing and development of the characters, Will Smith is good in the movie, but like they don't really properly set up this world and how it's combined with the fantasy elements. Like, I know they have this intro for that, but like they don't really properly explain it at all. You're just like, what the fuck is this corny shit? Like, it just doesn't work with that modern day society tone. Like, it just two opposing themes that they don't work together at all, and it just shows.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bright is number 4 for me. Cap, you're number 4.
My number 4 is going to be another movie that I was looking forward to, because I loved the first one back in 2015, but the sequel, disappointing, and it's kind of a bit of a mess, to be honest. Kingsman: The Golden Circle. This movie, I'm going to be honest, look, Taron Egerton, as Eggsy, he's amazing, and Colin Firth is, back, he's great as, Harry again, and, Mark Strong's really good in it too. But the movie is a mess from the start to the finish. It's like there's things in it that do not make any logical sense at all. Pretty much, they do something in the movie, actually 2 times in the movie, that pisses me off, because they basically, the Kingsman organization, right, Django? They basically, that's the part that we really love in the first movie. The British intelligence and the spy stuff and the gadgets and everything. in the beginning it's like that, but in the rest of the movie it just turns into something else, and they introduce the fucking statesman American people, and literally they did not have to be in the film at all. I'm not like Channing Tatum, Halle Berry, all these characters, they did not need to be there. Jeff Bridges, waste of time. You know, they offered nothing to the film. There was a plot twist that was pretty fucking obvious. The villain, Julianne Moore, she's a good actress, but she was fucking abysmal. She was terrible. She was just as bad as fucking Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor in Batman v Superman. My God. Wow, cringeworthy, that one. But, you know, the movie, you know, there was a few moments, like a few action sequences, and, you know, and obviously the battle between the likes of Mark Strong and, you know, Taron Egerton's characters were great as always, but besides that, it was pretty disappointing. You know, I wouldn't say it's like a clusterfuck, but definitely got a lot of problems, that movie, so that'll definitely be my fault.
Yeah, it sucks, because, like, the first movie was a great success. Everybody loved that.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen the second one yet, but it just sounds so disappointing that they didn't improve upon the first one dramatically. They just was a step backwards.
Yeah, it's and the thing is as well about Kingsman: The Golden Circle, it's just, I don't know, it felt like Matthew Vaughn was trying to, you know, build that world even bigger, but the thing is, it's like he forgot to stick to the thing we love most, which is the Kingsman organization. And the moment he does what he does in that film, it lost me for the rest of it, so that's all I'll say.
Okay. Alright, my number 3 is Star Wars: The Last Jedi. I could have put this higher, but there's 2 other shit shows that are just as worse as this movie. I won't go too much into Last Jedi. I recommend you check out my review, which is a non-spoiler. Basically, The Last Jedi is a jumbled, uneven mess. It basically destroys a lot of characters and brings in new characters, especially fucking Rose, who is the Jar Jar Binks of this new Disney trilogy. She is just fucking terrible. There were a lot of sequences that didn't even need to happen, like fucking Casino.
Oh yeah, Casino Fun.
That was like 15 minutes or something. I don't know. But I was bored most of the time and looking at my watch to see when this shit show was gonna be over, but it was still going on, and I was just like, I need to get the hell out. But yeah, I did not like this movie. I think it's the worst Star Wars movie of all time, in my opinion. I know people are gonna say the holiday special and so forth, but I don't count those movies. This is like a movie that's considered canon and in the trilogy, or in the Star Wars universe or whatever.
In the saga, basically, yeah.
So yeah, this is definitely the worst by far, in my opinion.
For me, I'm not going to mention anything yet, because as you know, Django, that's coming later on, the Last Jedi thing for me, so I'll leave it for later.
Okay.
So yeah.
Why don't you go with your number 3?
A movie that I have been saying it was going to be crap since last year, since Batman v Superman, and ironically, I was right. Now, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it still turned out to be a huge clusterfuck, a huge box office flop, and it had incredibly huge amounts of production issues, and that is the famous Justice League film. Okay, this movie. I'll admit, it had its moments. There were some nice moments with, interactions with Superman and the Flash. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman was pretty good. Superman was actually amazing in this film. Like, Henry Cavill actually was allowed to speak for once and have a personality. Ben Affleck as Batman was solid. The Flash was, kind of on and off for me. But besides that, the movie, the action sequences were boring. The pacing was so rushed. There was no depth or development for any of the new characters, the 3 characters in Cyborg, Aquaman, and Flash. There was barely a team dynamic. I did not feel chemistry at all. The final battle was very underwhelming. The music was forgettable. There's loads of plot holes that really hurt the continuity of the DC Cinematic Universe. And overall, this movie is an epic failure. But would I say it's worse than Batman v Superman? No, I'd rather watch this than Batman v Superman. But that's not saying much. It's still a terrible film. But yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I'm still not gonna be watching Justice League. I'll wait till it comes out on DVD because I really have a bias against DC at this point. And looking at this, the trailers, it did not impress me. And you know, it did all right in the box office. It did, oh, I guess decent, but not to what WB wanted.
Not to what they wanted, dude. They wanted the big Avengers money, and they wanted
billion.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't looking forward to the movie. I knew it was gonna be shitty as hell. But yeah, that's, you know, fuck DC.
You know what's sad? Before we get to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
To know that Justice League is my favorite superhero team of all time. I waited all my childhood to see that live action movie, you know, from the comics, from the animation, from the video games. And literally, I came out of the movie feeling so emotionless because one, I had no expectations for it at all. I'll admit it was okay, but wow. Compared to what in it, you know, the Avengers in 2012, where that was like this epic, memorable experience. That was probably one of the most forgettable experiences I've ever had. That's all I'm gonna say. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's not good. All right. Number 2 for me is a really anticipated movie that everyone was looking forward to. Directed by Ridley Scott. A continuation of Prometheus, or so we thought. And that was Alien Covenant. This fucking movie kills the Alien universe. Just this movie alone. And it's directed by fucking Ridley Scott. How the fuck does that happen? Kills the lore and the interest of the backstory of the aliens and how they were created. And just destroys it. As someone who liked Prometheus and wanted to see where they were going from that point and continuing from that, they fucking said no to that and did something completely different. And it was in the worst possible way. Jeez, I mean, I could go on and on about this fucking movie, but it was definitely, for me, the biggest disappointment of this year by far.
I will agree with you on it being one of the biggest disappointments of 2017. I'm gonna wait a little bit longer though to say my fault.
Yeah.
Because let's just say it's a little, you know, just we're getting close. So yeah.
Okay, I'll leave you at that. So might as well go to your number 2.
Okay, let's get to this shit. It's a movie that came out in December. It was probably one of the biggest movies of the year. Going into it, for some reason, I don't know what it was, I wasn't feeling it. Even though I just don't feel like I'm feeling the whole Disney era in general, but Star Wars The Last Jedi is my second most worst movie of the year, because it kills the latest trilogy. You know, it kills characters off, it ruins characters. The Luke and Rey scenes were disappointing when it came to the training. The throne sequence with Snoke, that's pretty popular, is probably the moment that does kill everything in general. There's things in the movie that don't make logical sense. Just the pacing of everything, the editing was strange. By the time we get to the final act, the momentum of the movie is gone, and it's just dragging on at that point. And it feels like it doesn't set up anything going into episode 9. It just felt like a huge, massive mess. And I feel sorry for J.J. Abrams now, because he literally has nothing to work with in the final movie. So, that's, I don't know, number 2 is definitely The Last Jedi for me, man.
Yeah, we could go on and on about The Last Jedi, but let's just leave it at that.
We're leaving that for another video coming in the future, so yeah.
Yeah, we'll do a full spoiler review on The Last Jedi, exploring everything when it comes to that. We'll probably have to watch it a second time, unfortunately, and that'll be later on. Alright, so My number one for the worst movie of 2017 is King Arthur. This fucking movie is the worst thing I've seen. It makes Gods of Egypt look like a good movie. This movie was a fucking shit show. It was an editing mess, the likes of which I've never seen before. I've seen a lot of bad movies, but this one takes the fucking cake because of how much of a mess it is when it comes to editing and uneven. Like, completely uneven this movie is. The tones, the writing, the editing, everything was just like the worst thing ever. The only thing that I liked was what's his fucking name? The actor.
Charlie Hunnam?
No, actually.
Is it Jude Law?
Jude Law.
Yeah, there you go.
He was the only one I liked in that movie. Everybody else, fuck him. Okay. Yeah, this movie was just horrible beyond belief, and I don't even wish it upon your worst enemy to watch it. It was that bad. It's directed by Guy Ritchie, who does like these detective Sherlock Holmes movies, and it combines it into this with a medieval scenario, and he has like this modern English tone going into this,
into this fantasy universe.
In this fantasy universe with like, AD time, and it just doesn't match at all. It's a mess. It's a horrible movie. I do not recommend anybody go out and watch this.
All I'm gonna say is, there's one thing I heard about this film. Apparently, it's like King Arthur on drugs.
It is. It is literally that times 10.
Oh my god.
Cocaine, heroin, everything.
Oh, it was everything. Yeah, it's something like everything was in this movie.
Jesus Christ. Okay. You're number one.
Okay, my number one worst movie of the year, and by far, probably, I'm gonna say it's my biggest disappointment. I was really looking forward to this film. I'm a huge fan of this franchise, and I was mixed on the first prequel, aka Prometheus, and that is Alien Covenant. This movie makes no logical sense. It destroys the Alien franchise in so many ways. There's so many ways it contradicts the first few Alien movies, especially Alien and Aliens, which are great fucking masterpieces. You have all these characters that are not characters to go on, they're just there to get killed off. You got David, played by Michael Fassbender, who's basically a psychopath who doesn't make any sense. Oh my god, the origins of the Xenomorphs. Nothing makes sense in that. It just, as you said, Django, earlier, it just destroys everything about the origins. We don't find out anything about the engineers that we were so interested about in Prometheus. Basically, this movie devalues Prometheus in a huge way. And the movie obviously tries to set up like another Alien prequel, but by what I'm hearing, Fox, has pulled the plug and it's not happening, like Alien Awakening, whatever the fuck it was called. And thank God, because I do not want to see Ridley Scott do any more Alien prequels, because this movie was fucking terrible. And if anything killed any franchises this year, it was definitely fucking Alien Covenant. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, Alien Covenant, Star Wars Last Jedi, killed the franchise. It was right there.
We'll add Justice League to that, but at the same time, that was already dead, that franchise, so yeah.
For a while now, yeah. Okay, so that was our worst movies of 2017. Let's just move on to the best movies of 2017. And we'll just go by this, a little bit quicker. So there were some good movies that I have to say. Definitely movies that stood out, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There's so many we could make a top 10, even. But we're just going to stick with top 5. I'll let Cap go with number 5 first.
Okay. The fifth one has to be my fifth most, enjoyable film I've watched out of my favorites. To be honest, probably my surprise of the year, because I had no interest or hype going into this, and that's Wonder Woman. I gotta be honest, it was a really good, solid, coherent film, visually amazing, it was exciting, it was colorful, You had these really likable characters. It was a great coming-of-age story. It did have some problems, like there was definitely some contradictions and continuity at the end to the DC Cinematic Universe. There was some plot holes, and the villains were mediocre. But overall, Gal Gadot does a great job, and her chemistry with Chris Pine and Steve Trevor is fantastic. They're basically both the best parts of the film, and the movie, the cinematography and the scenery is just gorgeous. So yeah, that's my fifth one.
Yeah, Wonder Woman was a good movie. I will give you that. I did watch it recently. Actually enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Alright, so my number 5 is Baby Driver. Directed by Edgar Wright and stars a great cast. Kevin Spacey, Jamie Foxx, and so forth. John Hamm. Basically, it's a heist movie. A big old heist movie directed by Edgar Wright, who does some just phenomenal movies in the past, and seeing him do like a big car race theme movie, it was just a once again another great movie that he adds to his track record. The guy knows how to direct movies and make great movies overall, and make actors play their part spectacularly well, like especially Kevin Spacey. He was just whew. So I really love Baby Driver. Definitely one movie I would recommend everyone to watch.
Baby Driver, I have not watched it, and if I had it, probably would be in the top 5, but it isn't. But yeah, Edgar Wright is that filmmaker where the guy, he can put together one of the most original, bizarre, crazy films ever, but his unique style and his execution is so great to the point where you absolutely love the characters, the story, the music, everything. Like, one of my favorite movies of all time was Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and Hot Fuzz is amazing too, and Shaun of the Dead. Like, I love Edgar Wright's films, so that's why I can't wait to eventually get my hands on watching Baby Driver.
The guy knows how to make great movies. That's what I'll say.
Unlike most people these days, so yeah.
Yeah. Alright, number 4.
Okay, my 4th movie. Oh my god, this movie is one of the best films of the year by far, and probably one of the best sequels I've actually ever watched for a long time, and that is John Wick Chapter 2, starring Keanu Reeves. Oh my god. This movie, like, I remember after I watched the first John Wick, and that was like a surprise to everyone of how amazing that film was. And I was thinking to myself, how the hell are they going to top the first one? I guess it was this awesome revenge story. But they took the John Wick universe and expanded it in a way that I absolutely loved. Like, all these assassins in Europe, and there's all these, like, basically this, oh my god, the action sequences were mind-blowing, like, the acting was great, the cinematography, holy crap, it was like watching a comic book or something, with the way, Chad Stadlinski did it was fantastic, and the mirror sequence at the end, oh my god, how the hell did they film that? I have no idea, but it was awesome, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of the Bruce Lee movie, I can't remember what it's called, but it kind of reminded me of that, the final scene with that where, Bruce Lee fights the villain with the mirrors and everything. It was kind of similar, but a little different, but it was a great sequel. Keanu Reeves was badass as hell again, and I can't wait for John Wick 3, so yeah.
Yeah, I can't say my thoughts on John Wick 2 right now. I'll leave it off a little bit later.
Yeah.
Alright. So, number 4 for me is Silence.
Ooh.
This movie came out actually last year, and I actually ended up watching it this year. Directed by Martin Scorsese, stars Liam Neeson, what's Garfield?
Yeah, Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield and Adam Driver. For once, I will say I liked Adam Driver in a movie. If that's saying something. But Silence is a very, very great movie. Everything about it, editing, screenplay, presentation, the acting, everything top notch, and you shouldn't expect anything less when it comes to a Scorsese film. Basically, the premise is that it's set in Japan, and it's about the persecution of Christians during that time. And it gets pretty intense, I will say that. Definitely a movie I would recommend. It's pretty long, but it's definitely worth your time. Everyone should go out and see this if they're patient and they love movies.
When it comes to Martin Scorsese, he's one of my favorite filmmakers of all time. Casino, Goodfellas, Taxi Driver, The Wolf of Wall Street. This guy's made some incredible films. And I haven't watched Silence yet, but I will definitely watch it because I like Andrew Garfield, I like Liam Neeson. I don't mind Adam Driver, he's not, I don't love him, I don't hate him, so I don't mind watching him either. But by what I've heard about this film, it sounds like a real emotionally driven film. That's one thing I will say, and I can't wait to watch it. Because one thing I will say about Scorsese, he's always, dude, was he in his 70s or something? My God, and the guy's still consistent. It's unbelievable.
It's crazy.
But, yeah.
So yeah, he's an all-time great director, so anytime you get that, you need to see like pretty much all of their movies.
Yeah.
So, alright, number 3.
Number 3 is Blade Runner 2049. Now, as we know, this is a movie that is a sequel to a cult classic science fiction film from back in the 80s, the original Blade Runner. And this movie, obviously everyone was like, why the hell are they making a sequel and all this crap and everything. And it's being directed by Dennis Venuelo, who directed great films like Prisoners, Sicario, and Arrival. And this movie was an incredible experience, especially at the cinema. Oh my God, like the cinematography is unbelievable. This story is so compelling, the characters are so, it's just everything about this film when it comes to, it's like a mystery, like a cyberpunk universe mystery, and it's so interesting and about how it tells the story about what it means to be human, and by the end of it, it felt like such a satisfying end to such a great film, and I can't wait to see what else Dennis Venuelo does in his career, and yeah, Harrison Ford was good in the movie, Ryan Gosling was great too, phenomenal acting, some of the monologues were unbelievably great. And I gotta be honest, Jared Leto, who got a lot of shit for Suicide Squad with the Joker, he totally redeems himself in this film. Some of his scenes as Wallace was fantastic. So yeah, Blade Runner 2049 is my third favorite movie of the year.
Yeah, so Blade Runner, I still haven't seen yet. I've heard it's just non-stop great things about it. Eventually, I will go out and see this and definitely give out my thoughts.
Yeah.
Alright, so my number 3 is Logan.
Ooh.
A post-apocalyptic final bout for Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and it was just one of the best movies to date. It just showed a realistic portrayal of Logan once again, and Hugh Jackman and Nick Mangold especially. They went all out. They weren't reserved this time like they were in the previous movie, The Wolverine, and they made their own thing. They weren't restricted. They made it rated R. They had X-23 come in the mix as well, and the action, the intensity, the ferocity when it comes to the action, the storytelling, the writing, it was just a phenomenal movie-going experience, and very emotional, extremely emotional. The bond that you have with X-23 as well as Wolverine is bonds you don't really see anymore. Not since like The Road, which is pretty much the inspiration behind Logan in a sense.
Yeah.
So I really love Logan. Definitely one of the best Marvel movies to date by far.
Yeah. I'll be talking about Logan a little bit later, so I'll leave it now.
Okay. Number 2 then.
Number 2 has to be probably my most enjoyable experience that I had at the cinema when it came to being visually entertained by such a fun and exciting action-adventure film, and that is Thor Ragnarok. This movie is fun as hell. The characters are all likable, they're all wacky and weird, kind of similar to Guardians of the Galaxy, but a little different because it was more fantasy, like, Norse mythology fantasy stuff. But Chris Hemsworth, by far, has his best performance. You could tell in the other movies he did good, but this movie you could really tell he was having a lot of fun with the role. due to the director Tati Watati, or Taika
Taika,
Watati,
yeah,
however you say his name. Yeah, even I, even you got over a little bit confused. But yeah, Loki, Tom Hiddleston was great again. Mark Ruffalo was fantastic. One person who really stuck out to me was Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie, and also Kate Blanchett as Hela was an awesome villain. The movie, is everything you could want in a movie. It's, visually amazing, a really awesome soundtrack. It kind of sounded like video game music. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the movie at the end had an epic battle, and it was, it's basically, something you don't really see in movies too much anymore. Originality and, fun and, great storytelling. So this is definitely my second favorite movie of the year, and my favorite MCU movie. So yeah.
Yeah, Thor Ragnarok, I really enjoyed. Definitely, man, it was just a fun comedy experience. And something they should have done with Thor from the very freaking beginning.
Yeah.
But they made him such a dull character. But they did like a 180 completely. They made me actually interested and love the character of Thor, as well as the other characters involved. And it was just like a mini Avengers, or Revengers as Thor likes to call it.
Yeah, Re-Avengers as they're calling it, yeah.
But definitely doing a great job with Thor as well as Hulk. Expanding upon his character and making him just really outgoing this time around. Different side to Hulk that you've seen before. He's just not a wild, crazy animal, but actually talking and developing his character as well as was it Mark Ruffalo? Mark Ruffalo as Banner. They just did a phenomenal experience with that movie overall, and I just cannot stop talking about that.
And the thing is as well, it's like, as you said, they develop, Hulk, but they also, I don't know what it was, as you said, it's like Chris Hemsworth as Thor was a lot more charismatic in this film, and he was a lot more likable, a lot more funny, compared to, look, I'm not trying to say his other performances were shit, but in those movies he was just, doing the job, he was playing the role, and there you go. But in this, you could tell Hemsworth was having fun. Just like all the actors looked like they were having fun. And, that's great to see.
Yeah, that movie really surprised me, and it's just instantly one of the best movies of this year by far.
Yeah.
Alright, so my number 2 is John Wick 2.
Ooh.
This was definitely the best action movie of this year by far. Phenomenal action. Keanu Reeves is excellent. The villains are great, and the cinematography. The mirror sequence. I don't know how they freaking do that, but it was just one of the coolest scenes.
Asking that question, yeah.
It's just one of the coolest scenes you've ever seen. Like, it just makes your mind ponder, and it's just like how did they do that? It's just like it makes you question it really, like quite a lot. But it was definitely one of the best action movies, and it leaves it open-ended for a sequel, which is coming out, I think, 2019.
Yeah,
so,
they're going to start filming 2018, and then it'll come out.
So it just leaves you more than enough excited for that sequel. But it was instantly like better than the first one, believe it or not. And I just enjoyed every moment of it.
The cliffhanger at the end is huge.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Yeah.
You're just like, how is he gonna beat this? Like, he already did a lot in the second movie. How the hell is he gonna do all of this in the third movie?
Maybe he'll kill them all with a pencil.
Oh god.
Yeah.
All right, number 1.
Oh my god, this is it. This is a movie that is pretty special to me and many people, especially when it comes to Marvel X-Men related fans. The end of an era. It is the end of his time, and it's Logan. This movie was a fantastic R-rated Western film. Well, it kind of felt like a Western film. It wasn't exactly one, but it kind of felt like one. And, oh my god, just the acting by Hugh Jackman and, Sir Patrick Stewart, and the chick who plays, the little girl who plays X-23 is phenomenal. Just the whole story is well paced out, really well edited. Cinematography is great. The action is so adrenaline rush. and at times intense as well, and very ferocious. And yes, it is R-rated, which is great, because you know how in a Django we've always moaned about how Wolverine's hold it back by the PG-13 rating, but this time in it he's let loose, and it's amazing. The ending, though, oh my god, I'm not even joking, it was so intense, and that final 5 minutes at the cinema had me almost in tears. Because, you know, it's not the factor that it's, you know, the end of, you know, Wolverine, it's the end of a childhood hero. I've been watching this character since 2000, aka, you know, so 17 years. And to see one of my childhood heroes, you know, die in a movie was just heartbreaking. So, yeah, but phenomenal film, and officially my favorite movie of 2017.
Yeah, it's gonna be a shame to see who they're gonna put for Wolverine in the future, but nothing could top what Hugh Jackman has done with Wolverine. It's something special.
Yeah, he has a legacy that is gonna be really hard to top. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I mean, you can't see anybody else as Wolverine but that guy. So,
Yeah.
my number one is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So, I pretty much love this movie even more than the first movie, I would say. And this movie is like the definition of fun. I had like the most fun, I laughed a lot, I had a great time with the action, and once again, Drax was my favorite character.
I love Drax too, yeah.
I just love them all. I mean, James Gunn knows how to direct a film that can be entertaining for everyone, not just kids or just adults, it's for everybody.
He's very good at doing characters, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this movie was like the definition of a character piece in a sense.
Yeah.
You know, developing these characters even more than the first movie, and you know, putting them in, you know, sort of uncomfortable positions at the same time. You know, everyone had their role, everyone had their part to play, even new characters as well, and it's just a very fun experience. You know, even the villain, Ego, played by Kurt Russell, I would say he was like the best villain of this year by far, believe it or not. I mean, just in my opinion, that's how I feel, but you know, when it comes to Marvel movies, the villains are not always the best part.
They're very uninteresting, most of them enough.
Yeah, but they made him actually pretty interesting, actually a good villain, I would say.
I would actually have to add on to your point. I gotta be honest, this is probably the best year for MCU villains. Like, Hela was really good, you know, Ego was pretty good too. Even Michael Keaton as the Vulture in Spider-Man Homecoming, pretty good, pretty solid villains.
Yeah, I was really surprised by that too. Marvel's slowly, you know,
they're improving, yeah.
Improving, definitely. Yeah, so Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 for me, it was just an all-out great movie, and definitely, you know, I would say it's even better than the first. And might even be the best Marvel movie, in my opinion, but that's just me.
I think one thing I will say about Volume 2, the final act at the end is probably one of the most, not just epic, but also one of the most emotionally driven battles I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Especially the part with Yondu and Star-Lord at the end, that was pretty heartbreaking and tragic.
Oh my goodness, yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah, very well executed.
I've seen it like 2 or 3 times in theaters, got the Blu-ray, and now I want to see it even more because of how much I really appreciated the film.
Add it to the collection, y'all.
It's to my Blu-ray collection, I need to have it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's our best and worst movies of 2017. Let us know your list in the comment section below, best and worst, 5 to 1, you know, just let us know in the comment section below. And thank you, Cap, as always, for joining with me.
And thank you for letting me, as always, be on the channel to do the podcast. This is always fun for you. You know, fun doing this with you, bro.
Of course, man. I always appreciate your company.
Y'all. So, yeah.
So, yeah, guys, please be sure to like this video, comment down below, tell us your best and worst movies. Check out our previous podcast episodes. I'll put the links in the description below. And look out for our new podcast that's going to be coming out, you know, I don't know when, weeks or something.
Basically, years, who knows?
Years. But look out for that. It's going to be the spoiler review of Star Wars The Last Jedi. We're going to go all out. Full spoilers and...
Full discussion, yep.
We're going to, you know, fucking rant and rave about that fucking movie.
Let's just say we're going to be flying in space, if you get what I mean, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'll leave it at that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next podcast episode. Peace.
See you later.